Hello, everybody. Yeah, something different today. Today, we're going to ask, what can we do to boost Haiku? Ask not what Haiku can do for you, but what you can do for Haiku. And for a long time, I wanted to do one of these tier lists just as a bit of fun. So, this is all just a bit of fun, one man's opinion. But we're not going to do apps today. Maybe later we'll give that a shot. And what can we say? What can we do ourselves? Where are we in this process? So, let's have a look. These labels on the side here, unfortunately I can't edit those in this software. But that's okay. We'll make do with what we got. I was thinking of putting something like Haiku Gods, Haiku Pros, but can't do it. Okay. So, we start off as just Haiku curious. You've heard about it, but you don't really know. You haven't installed it. You haven't really worked with it. Let's just put that in meh. Okay. It doesn't really advance us, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But then something happens. You actually install Haiku, maybe on a VM, maybe on an old computer that you got lying around, and you start using it. You become an end user. Now, where do we put the end users? Well, we do need end users. That's the whole point. If we weren't working for the end users, then what are we doing this for? Right? But just being an end user by itself doesn't really benefit Haiku anyway. It benefits you. You got a new operating system to play with, but Haiku doesn't really benefit. So I think we're still here. But now comes the interesting bit. You start noticing that there are things that don't work or don't work the way you want them to, and you start reporting it. You start getting active on the forums. You start writing tickets. Now, I'm using this very broadly. I'm calling it a ticket writer, but not everybody is very comfortable in the formal ticketing platforms that we have. It's all very technical. So I'm including in this the people who just get on the forum and say, hey, why is this not working? We got a few guys who are just self-appointed ticket police who will tell you, don't put it here, write the ticket. Don't worry about them. Just if you put it on the forum, then somebody who's more technically inclined is very likely to say, okay, yeah, I'll write the ticket for you. If they can duplicate your problem. Right, and so there's an IRC channel where you can air your problems. There are also mailing lists. I think those are a bit dead at the moment, but by all means subscribe and see what people are talking about. So ticket writer. Now we're getting somewhere. That is useful. Okay, so then maybe you don't have programming skills, but you can do other things. You can make videos like this one. You can write articles. By the way, there is now a wiki where we are going to write up, all the ins and outs of running Haiku. Well, there's a section for BOS as well. There are still people who are totally in love with BOS, and I guess it had to be there. I haven't seen anybody actually writing for that yet. But yeah, I've been writing on this already. Let's see. Here, I wrote this 2 days ago. Now, if you're going to write here, if you're familiar with writing on a wiki, don't reinvent the wheel, okay? Because we actually have very good instructions on the Haiku main website, so you can just refer to that, right? And of course, there's also the B-Sly. I've had my criticism on this. Sometimes I think they're a bit out of date, but when that's not the case, just make a reference. Like here at the bottom, you'll see I made a reference to the Haiku OS website. There are other resources, so don't use this to reinvent the wheel. Just write around it. Write it in a more accessible way, perhaps. Okay, so that is what I call a publicist. And it's a lot of what I do. So I'm going to say it's okay. I'm going to be humble about it. Of course, I want to put it up there, but yeah. Right. So the next step, an app porter. Now that's a category by which I mean, finding Java, Qt, GTK applications that can be ported. And of course, it's a lot of what I do. I don't know if you've been to my website, but most of this is not stuff that I've written myself. It's stuff that I've ported. And most of it is little command line utilities. That's the biggest category. They're the easiest to port, C programs port on just about anything. So, app porter, and I think I'm going to say this is good. Because of app porters, we've got lots of little programs and a few really big ones. I mean, we've got the GIMP, we've got LibreOffice, and now we're getting Firefox-based browsers. I mean, this is all porting. So, however humble your own contribution is, porting is good. However, you know what's better than porting an app? Writing a native application that is unique to Haiku, that works in a Haiku-ish way, and that does something that can't easily be done in Linux, macOS, Windows, something that's really Haiku. So I'm going to say that is great. Okay. Then I'm going to OS dev. The people who are actually working on the operating system itself, right? Who are creating Haiku, not on the app level, but on the operating system level. Guys, you are the Haiku gods. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Okay, that's great. And the people who are trying very hard to move Haiku out of its little x86 prison that it finds itself in and to port it to ARM or to RISC-V. Is it RISC-V or RISC-V? I don't know. We're even less worthy. Right, so, and that leaves one thing, a distro maker. Okay, some people are not going to like it, but right now, this is not what we need. Please don't even think about it. Because this is a tiny community, tiny. And the fact that there is one Haiku is the one thing that has kept us together for the last 20 years. Now, that may change in the future. You know, this may move up the list at some stage, although I hope we never ever get to the situation we have in Linux where, you know, there are, sometimes I think there are more distros than users. Okay, not really, but you know what I mean. And so, yeah, this is the one thing that goes into yuck. So, where are you in this process? Right? This, I think, is my main role. I'm a publicist. And I do a little bit of this. Actually, I've done a lot of it, but, you know, basically, I just know how to run, configure, make. I know how to package up the results. If it's not too complicated, not too many files spread out all over the place. Yeah, I'm still learning. And so all my ports are very proof of concept, rough and ready. You know, if you have a better idea about that, then grab the source and tell me, hey, I've done it much better. Please remove your app because I'm putting this in the repositories, and I will say thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so shall we do more of these tier lists in the future? Put a link below in the comments. Thanks for watching.